Hello everyone, I am Shruti Vijayargi from BISP Solution. In this video, I am going to explain the correlation in Excel. Correlation is a statistical method and why we are studying correlation. So first I am going to tell you about what is correlation and what is the importance of correlation, and then I am going to uh, do practical in Excel. So first, what is correlation? Correlation refers to a technique used to measure the relationship between two or more variables. When two things are correlated, it means that they vary together. Positive correlation means that high scores on one are associated with high scores on the other, and that low scores on one are associated with low scores on the other. Negative correlation on the other hand means that high scores on the first thing are associated with low scores on the second. Negative correlation also means that low scores on the first are associated with high scores on the second. For example, in the correlation between body weight and the time spent on a weight loss program, if the program is effective, the higher the amount of time spent on the program, the lower the body weight. Also, the lower the amount of time spent on the program, the higher the body weight. So, Pearson is a statistic that is commonly used to calculate bivariate correlations. In correlation, there are four pieces of information are necessary. The first one is the numerical value of the correlation coefficient. That means correlation coefficient can vary numerically between zero point 0.0 and 1.0. The closer the correlation is to 1.0, the stronger the relationship between two variables. A correlation of zero point 0.0 indicates the absence of a relationship. If the correlation coefficient is minus 0.80, which indicates the presence of a strong relationship. The second point is the sign of the correlation coefficient. A positive correlation coefficient means that as variable 1 increases, variable 2 also increases. And conversely, if variable 1 decreases, then variable 2 also decreases. In other words, the variables move in the same direction when there is a positive relationship. And in a negative correlation means that if variable 1 increases, then variable 2 decreases, and vice versa. So in other words, the variables move in opposite directions when there is a negative correlation. The negative sign indicates that as class size increases means reading scores decreases. Okay. The third point is the statistical significance of the correlation. That means a statistically significant correlation is indicated by a probability value of less than 0.05. This means that the probability of obtaining such a correlation coefficient by chance is less than 5 times out of 100. So the result indicates the presence of a relationship. For minus 0.80, there is a statistically significant negative relationship between class size and reading score, such that the probability of this correlation occurring by chance is less than 1 time out of 1000. The last important information is the effect size of the correlation. For correlation, the effect size is called the coefficient of determination, and it is defined as R square. The coefficient of determination can vary from 0 to 1, and indicates that the proportion of variation in the scores can be predicted from the relationship between the two variables. A correlation can only indicate the presence or absence of a relationship, not the nature of the relationship. There is always the possibility that a third variable influences the results. The next topic is the why and what is the importance of correlation. There are five important points which indicates importance of correlation. Most of the variables show some kind of relationship. For instance, there is a relationship between price and supply, income and expenditure, etc. With the help of correlation analysis, we can measure in one figure the degree of relationship. And once we know that two variables are closely related, we can estimate the value of one variable given the value of another, and this is known as the help of regression. Then correlation analysis contributes to the understanding of economic behavior, aids in locating the critically important variables on which others depend. The fourth point is progressive development in the methods of science and philosophy has been characterized by increasing in the knowledge of relationship. In nature also one finds multiplicity of interrelated forces. And the last, the effect of correlation is to reduce the range of uncertainty. The prediction based on correlation analysis is likely to be more variable and near to reality. There are three types of correlation. The first one is the simple correlation. That means in simple correlation, we study the relationship between two variables. Of these two variables, one is principal and the other is secondary. The second is the partial correlation. If the given problem more than two variables are involved, and of these variables we study the relationship between only two variables, keeping the other variable constant, correlation is said to be partial. It is because the effect of other variables is assumed to be constant. And the third one is the multiple correlation. The relationship between two or more variables is studied jointly. For example, a relationship between rainfall, use of fertilizer, manure on per hectare, productivity of maize crop. So this is all about the correlation. How correlation is calculated in Excel, I am going to explain. So the first one, I have a variable x and a variable y. We have to find that x and y is correlated or not. That means there is some positive or a negative relationship between these two variables. So just go to the data tab, click on the data analysis and select the correlation from the analysis tools and then click OK. And then pass the input range from A2 to Y6, sorry B6. I'm not selecting the labels, so I just don't uh, select this label. And output range, I'm giving output range is the cell B8 and then click OK. So the column 1 and column 2 has some positive relationship, that means x and y has some positive relationship 1. A correlation coefficient of +1 indicates a perfect positive relationship. It means that if the variable value x increases, the variable y is also increases, and if the variable x decreases, the value of y also decreases. We can check out this relationship with the help of chart. So for that, just select all the cells, all the data cells, go to the insert tab, click on the line chart and select line. So here blue lines represent for X and Y for red. So here is, it indicates that there is a positive relationship between X and Y, because as the value of X increases, the value of Y also increases, and when the value of X decreases, the value of Y also decreases. The next example of this, here we calculate the correlation from cell A2 to B6. We can also select the labels also. For this we have to check the labels in first row, and the output is in B8 and then click OK. So the output with labels has been shown. Here is a -1 value indicates X and Y relationship. A correlation coefficient of -1 indicates a perfect negative correlation. As variable x increases, then variable z decreases, and also if x decreases, variable z increases. We can check it out with the help of chart also. So this is the chart. Here blue line indicates X and red for Z. As the value of X increases, the value of Z decreases. So there is a negative correlation between X and Z. Now I have one more example using multiple variables. If we calculate correlation for this, because labels are also selected, so this step must be selected and output range is B8. We can also show our output in new worksheet as well, and then click OK. So in this, between A and C there is a positive relationship because the relationship of A and C indicates 0.90. That means it is nearly close to 1. So there is a positive relationship between A and C. But between A and B there is no relation because the value is 0.1. So they are not correlated, and also B and C are also not correlated because the value is 0.1 and which is far from the 1. And we can also see that with the help of chart. Here A indicates the value of A parameters, blue lines indicate A, green line indicates C, and red line indicates B. So as the value of A increases, the value of C also increases, and as the value of A decreases, the value of C also decreases. So this is the relationship between A and C. So there is a positive relationship between A and C, but between B and C there's no perfect relationship, and between A and B also not a relationship. So this is how the calculation of correlation goes, which denotes the relationship between variables. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Thanks for watching.